How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday Bible Studies. Continue on to Daniel. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven that have given into thine hand, and have made thee ruler over them all, thou art this head of gold. So Nebuchadnezzar is the head of gold. And or the first Babylonian kingdom. And of course, the Lord calls him. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. That supposedly is the Roman Empire. The silver, the second one, is the Medes and the Persians. And so that's why we get, there are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, Nebuchadnezzar, gold, silver. And then the brass is kind of all of these. Well, the next 2 at least. Alexander the Great. So you got the Grecian and Roman empires combined there. Who is Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes? Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes. Oof. All right, let me try to type all this in. I'll be right with you. So Alexander the Great, if I'm not mistaken, was a Greek. And so is this next guy. So the Grecian Empire, that's why during the Roman Empire days when Jesus was around, they were speaking Greek. That's why it's the original Greek and Hebrew scriptures. The New Testament was written in Greek. Alexander the Great.
According to Wikipedia, Alexander III of Macedon, commonly known as Alexander the Great, was a king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon and a member of the Argead dynasty.
Then when you get into Napoleon, you're more into the Roman Empire days, even though it's way after the Roman Empire and all the Caesars. But of course, the Catholic Church was at rule. And then this would be the machine or the Industrial Revolution era. So it is the legs of iron. So gold, silver, brass. That's 3, 4, and 5 would be the brass. 6 would be the iron, and then the iron mixed with clay is the 7th. And even the 8th is of the 7th. That's the Antichrist returning, seemingly from the dead, which is why Revelation 17, verses 11 and 10 and 11, or 11 and 12. I believe it's 8 through 11. Yeah, it's 8 through 11. So it's basically verses 10 and 11 that are the big ones. The beast that was and is not shall ascend to the bottomless pit and go into perdition. When they beheld the beast that was and is not, that's after the deadly wound, and yet is. That's when he returns. More deeply explained, there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. The head of gold and silver were not fallen per se in the individuals of Nebuchadnezzar and Darius the Medes, because they both loved Daniel and were brought by the Lord to love his God. But one is, and the other is not yet come. That's the seventh and the eighth. And when he come, he must continue a short space as Antichrist, risen from the dead. And the beast that was, Trump before the deadly wound, and is not. Now Trump has disappeared, and you're going up through World War III. Even he is the eighth, but he is of the seven. He is the eighth, but even he is of the seven. The beast that is, was, is not, but yet is. It comes back. So that's pretty much your silver. Let's keep going. The fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, that's through war, through those iron metal tanks, planes, guns, bullets. As iron that breaketh all of these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of the potter's clay, that's straight out of Romans 9, verses 11 through 24, where Paul explains the fairness of election and predestination. A word that you have to make people love, or y'all must separate. Let them go their separate ways. And the potter's clay and part of iron, that is, again, the machine, but now it is more talking about the computer, because we're now in the computer age. Wars are fought with drones, AI, artificial intelligence, smart bombs, smart everything, smartphones, everything's artificial intelligence, which is the ghost in the machine, the fallen angels, and the technology. The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron. For as much as thou saw the iron mixed with the miry clay. So it's mixing, hang on. And as the toes of the feet were part iron and part of clay, so shall the kingdom be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas, let's have it explained one more time. This is very deep and very layered. Whereas thou sawest the iron, the computer, mixing with the miry clay, the human body, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. That's why through the technology, you will be uploading the demonic entities into your body, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron does not mix with clay. So the human host will die, and the fallen angels will be using your body as an avatar. That's why when your mom and pops take the mark, they're going to come after you, because they're not your mom and pops anymore. That's why the whole world comes after the bride. Now, the people that run this world don't understand that. They have fallen for the angel of lies. Sorry, I had to do some laundry and then found myself prepping something else. Let's finish up. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed. That's during he comes back. It's the 1,000-year millennial reign, which then moves over to the permanent New Jerusalem in the heavenly realm. The 1,000-year millennial reign is basically a New Jerusalem in an earthly realm. And the kingdom shall not be left to the other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. And that, of course, is God's kingdom. All right, let's move over to John. Then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, this is of a truth that prophet that should come into the world. Okay. When Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into the mountain himself alone, into a mountain himself alone. And when even was now come, his disciples went down into the sea and entered into a ship and went over to the sea toward Capernaum. And it was now dark, and Jesus was not come to them. And the sea arose by reasons of a great wind that blew. And when they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea and drawing nigh into the ship, and they were afraid. But he saith unto them, It is I, be not afraid. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land whither they went. The day following, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was none other boat there save the one whereinto his disciples were entered, and that Jesus went not with his disciples into the boat, but that his disciples were gone away alone. And so let's read that also in New Living, just to kind of, if there's something there that's incorrect, we'll check it out. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We do now realize we have to make sure all the chapters are there. They were eager to let him into the boat, and immediately they arrived at their destination. The next day, the crowd that had stayed on the far shore saw that the disciples had taken only the boat, and they realized Jesus had not gone with them. So we'll get to the rest tomorrow. I think I know what it'll be about tomorrow. I think I know where that was going. I think y'all all do. Or like, how did Jesus get in the boat? We all saw that it just left with the disciples. How's he in the boat? The boat never came back. So that's what I think is going on there. Love y'all very much. Ask questions anytime.